This video contains or may contain spoilers for Hollow Knight. I previously made a video where I gave names to Hollow Knight characters who didn't have them. Immediately after finishing that video, I realized that there were still many characters I hadn't named, so I decided to make a part 2. First off, the Oblobbles would be named Pyramus and Thisbe after the ill-fated lovers in a Greek myth that supposedly inspired the story of Romeo and Juliet. The uninfected weaver that briefly appears in the Weaver's Den would be named Spinneret after what spiders use to make silk. Lord Fool would be named Achilles, since he was a strong warrior, but clearly one who had a weakness and wasn't invincible. The brooding molex, there are 2 in the game, one in the Crossroads and one in the Trial of the Fool, would be named Blake and Bradley, since both of those names sound similar to brooding Moloch. The 3 Gruz mothers, 1 in the Crossroads and 2 in the Trial of the Warrior, would be named Marge for a certain famous mother, Bertha because it sounds like birth, and Victoria after that one queen who had a bunch of kids. The 2 Vengefly kings, 1 in Greenpath and 1 in the Trial of the Warrior, both of which show up in the pantheon of Hallownest, would be named Waylon and Warren as a reference to their battle cries and warlike nature. Macebug would be named Macy. What other name could be more perfect? Menderbug would be named Gideon because his writing makes him seem cheerful and giddy. The 2 whispering bugs in the Crossroads hot spring would be named Bruno and Winston. Bruno after a certain famous subject of gossip, and Winston because it sounds a bit like whisper. The traitor's child must have had a mother at some point, and since the name I gave the daughter was inspired by the goddess Demeter, I'll name her mother after the goddess Demeter's mother, Rhea. The 2 soul warriors, the one in the main part of the soul sanctum and the one in the shade soul room, will be named Marcus and Maximilian, as they are referred to as mage knights in the game's files, and those names sound similar to that title. The 100-nail warrior would be named Lance because the name sounds like the type of blade. The gravedigger would be named Greg because it sounds like gravedigger and just fits him. The 2 Grimm steeds would be named Ruby and Rudolph. Ruby because a ruby is red like the troupe's main color, and Rudolph after the red-nosed reindeer who pulls Santa's sleigh just as the Grimm steeds pull the Grimm troope's tent. The dead bug found by the Nightmare Lantern would be named Scarlet, once again because it corresponds to the troupe's color scheme. Pale Lurker would be named Paula because it sounds like Pale Lurker. Flukemarm could be named Mara because it sounds like the second half of her boss title. The Shade Beast would be named Grant because it grants the knight the Shade Cloak. If the Shade Lord had a different name than the knight, I'd go with Erebus after the personification of darkness and shadow in Greek mythology. The 6 Watcher Knights would be named Virgil because it sounds like vigilant, Gardner because it sounds like guard, Jason because he was a famous Greek hero, Roman because ancient Rome had many soldiers, Chase because the Watcher Knights chase you, and Sheldon because they have hard shells. I guess Roman could specifically be the one that gets crushed by the chandelier to symbolize the fall of the Roman Empire. The bug holding the love key would be named Eros after the Greek god of love. The ancient nailsmith behind the quick slash charm would be named Pierre because it sounds like pure, as the bug says when dream nailed. The lighthouse keeper in the abyss would be named Luna because it means moon, and the light of the lighthouse reminds me of moonlight. The Dash Master's real name would be Daniel, and the Sprint Master's would be Sylvester, both of which sound like their titles. The giant Aspid mother in the crossroads with the glowing womb charm would be named Astrid because it sounds like Aspid. The bug with the king's idol at the edge of the Howling Cliffs would be named Cliff after that area. Finally, the gorgeous husk would be named Goldie because they're golden. So what do you think of my name choices? Do you have a favorite? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching this video. Feel free to check out my other Hollow Knight videos and subscribe to the channel. I hope you're doing okay, and I'll see you next time.